exciting panel discussions this afternoon. Panel discussion will focus on mobile cloud and big data for the consumer. I'd like to introduce to you our moderator, Ajit Deshpande, correct? Sorry, I'm butchering everybody's name. He's a senior associate for Oaks Capital, where he sources and evaluates investment opportunities and contributes business and technical assistance to portfolio companies. Prior to business school, you're an MBA graduate from House School of Business, and prior to business school, Ajit worked for 8 years in engineering operation roles in semiconductors and clean tech, and recently had stints in internal corporate venturing, angel investing, and technology investment banking. So immediately prior to joining Opus, he consulted with a startup in the cellular cloud access and network services space to help develop its go-to market strategy in preparation for venture fundraising. So let's welcome Ajit Deshpande. You want to sit? Or whatever you want to do. You sit here. They just go.
Thank you all for coming to the panel and to the conference. Again, like was mentioned, my name is Ajit. I work at Opus Capital. We do early stage IT-focused venture capital investing. We are based here in Menlo Park. That's our only office. And we've invested in a broad range of companies in sort of the three big buckets of discussion for today. So we are investors in companies in mobility, in the cloud, in big data, and obviously these are some of the key trends that we are all looking at today. So we've got a really exciting panel today. What I'm going to do is to start off by just mentioning the panelists by name and request them to introduce themselves in a couple of minutes, describing what their roles are, what companies they work for, what their sort of essentially association with this topic is right now and in their previous roles. So we have Simon Zhang from LinkedIn. He's the Director of Business Analytics at LinkedIn. He's got a really interesting career, I guess. From what I understand, he was a neurosurgeon before and he's made the transition into data analytics, which is pretty interesting. Then we've got Michael Zhang from Shanghai Jiangsu Innovation Center. And then we've got Yvonne Lee, who's the VP of Business Development at Startup. And then finally, Yangchang He, who's a software engineer at Dropbox. So if I can ask each of the panelists to just take a couple minutes to introduce themselves.
Thanks, Ajit. Hello everyone, my name is Simon Zhang, and I work at LinkedIn as a Director of Analytics, and my team support all the monetization efforts within LinkedIn. So perhaps all of you use LinkedIn, but on the back end, so there is a monetization engine run and generate a lot of revenues, and my team cover internal usage of big data to support sales, marketing, product, engineer, ad operations, sales operations, and customer service. So, and at LinkedIn, as you know, we have a lot of LinkedIn members that use LinkedIn. Actually, these generate a lot of information and data. So my team's job, how to use this data to convert the data into revenue. That's my team's job. To sell, of course, to help internal teams to leverage insights, make quick decisions, and create value for LinkedIn members and customers. So, and previously I worked for a couple companies in India and its group. And 10 years ago, I was a brain surgeon working in the hospital. That's a long time ago. The reason I switched because of I like computer and internet a lot. That was starting almost 10, 11 years ago. That was my hobby. And I want to do something related to my hobby and have fun. That's why I left the hospital and came here and started exploring as an MBA degree. internet databases. So that's it. Nice meeting everyone. Thank you.
I'm Michael Zong. I'm a standing representative of the Innovation Center. So before China local venture capital firm in Shanghai, before that I worked as also venture capital investor in PFJ in Thailand. So basically, our U.S. Innovation Center was established last year. So actually, it's about a year. We are located in Santa Clara. The major functionality of this innovation center right now, basically try to promote the so-called incentive program, we call it 3310 plan in Shanghai. Another thing is try to provide the collaboration between Silicon Valley and Shanghai, and really to provide this platform and to engage with entrepreneurs, with business owners if they want to start up the new business or want to expand to the business to China, particularly in Shanghai and in Yangpu. And then we will provide this kind of a platform to help them. So in Yangpu, actually we have okay. So we have a base in Yangpu, right? We call it Overseas High-Level Talent Innovation Entrepreneurial Base. That was established in 2009. So the major function of the base is to implement this 3310 plan, right? The plan was launched in 2009. So far, we have attracted about 80 so-called national 1,000 talent plans. Right now, we have about 500 3310 planning entrepreneurs from countries across around the world, mostly from North America. And also, we have 5,000 small medium businesses. And here, because today it's more related to cloud and big data, I'd like to briefly talk about a little bit about it. We also have a so-called cloud valley. So that was established about 2010. So far, we have about 36 cloud-related companies into this valley, right? Really, it's to provide an ecosystem from capital and platform and public policies as well as public services. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, I'm Yvonne Lee with SureDoc Corporation, and I'm VP of Business Development. And SureDoc is a cloud storage company. We have developed an ultra-secure cloud infrastructure using many different technologies, and some are from our own invention. We are not using the traditional Hadoop type of system. With this new design, we are able to cut costs at least by a factor of 2. We have also implemented security features at all levels within our infrastructure, so that no one can view our users' content from the server side, not hackers, not the system administrator, or even the government. And that's why we call our system neutral. We offering users a desktop, laptop, and a mobile app to back up all the data and different devices into a single account. And they can also view the documents from any device using the browser. We providing our users with 100 gigabytes of free storage to start with, and you can go to our website to sign up for an account at SureDoc.com, SureDoc.com.
Thank you. I'm Wing Tiang. I'm from Dropbox. I'm an engineer at Dropbox. We talk about data. I don't share with you guys one information. At Dropbox, we have 1 billion document uploaded every day. That's more than the things I can compute. So we store like few paragraphs of data, and right now this is going to double, triple, pretty soon. That's just offline data, not online data. That's not all your files, just the information it's like we log from our TS. Private Dropbox, I worked at Pinterest for some time, and then we use the Pinterest use the Amazon Yammer and Free, all these cloud services. I can share with you guys some those information if you are interested. And before that, I worked at Facebook. I also worked at Facebook with infographic team, a similar team as Samsung making. At Facebook building for it's like again it's a big number. We're left it's few hundred paragraphs down. So that time Facebook is again that is the largest storage system in the world. And also I work at Facebook in the database group, which stores all your online data, your privacy, your personal information that's online. When you log into Facebook, only you see as a part of our system, database systems. Thank you.
All right, that's great. So obviously the topic we are covering today is pretty broad. So big data, cloud, mobility, in itself, each of them is a huge trend. So given that, the way we are going to try to approach this discussion is to break it down into 3 pieces. So we are going to start with the big data piece of it. The question I want to start with is for each of the panelists. What does big data mean to you and your company? Is that something that's a hype? Is that a good description of your challenges around data? Is it a misnomer? Would you call it something else? What's your thoughts on it? And maybe you can start.
So, big data sounds to me, actually, I think I read some articles, typically on the web. I think it's a buzzword, in the personal feeling and everywhere. But internally at LinkedIn, and we derive a lot of value from it. So actually, the job, is not, just talking about big, giant, huge. Big, giant, huge. This kind of term is equal to slow, less value, and compromisation. So at LinkedIn, we believe, our job is to convert those petabytes, terabytes, gigabytes, data into very, very small insights. Actually, so my job is, we have a lot of LinkedIn numbers creating petabytes information. My job is to convert those, big data into very small and useful components, and then send that quickly to the internal teams so they can use. One example, I can say is, for example, salespeople, right? They collect a lot of information across the web, try to, let's say, close a deal with another company. So, and my team's job is help them to finish all of this, different kind of steps into a 3 seconds, action. Click the button or type in the company name, click the button. They have all the information they need to close the deal. From the marketing perspective, the same thing. At LinkedIn, for example, we have almost 15 million numbers. However, when we do targeting, send the information to 250 million members. That's not what LinkedIn try to do. We only want to target the right audience on the right time by using the right content. To do that, we have to do a lot of background work to make the big data into small bits and then drive value. So, and that's just my basic understanding of big data.
That's a good point. For me, I think big data definitely is a phenomenon. So we see the growth of data I mean, the data itself exists for a long time. You have different tools, but right now it's just reached that point. Right? You have to reinvent some of the new technology to handle the things. Right? For me, I think that big data is part of cloud computing. Right? So when you look cloud, you have really two parts. One part is, we've been familiar with virtualization, right? One server can solve multiple problems. But for big data, actually, is the opposite. You have to use multiple servers to solve one problem. So I think that this is really is a phenomenon. So I think that how to create the right tool and leverage the right technology to create value out of the big data. That's, I think, is big challenges for a lot of companies, to take this opportunity.
I share the same view with Michael. Big data is definitely a real trend, not a hype. To us, of course, everything is about data storing. The big data will create a huge opportunity for a company like us to know how to store the data. And I will also say that in the future, the local drive, meaning like on our PC and so forth, will become a temporary drive, and everybody will back up the data to the cloud. The primary purpose is, of course, to back up data, but also to access through other devices. So the number one thing about big data and cloud is backup and access. That's the number one thing. But I want to also bring up the second thing, which is file sharing. And this will, we know that for sure people will love to share files with their friends and family. However, from our point of view, because we are the ultra-secure cloud system, shared file is very insecure to us. So we actually have to develop a lot of technologies around file sharing to ensure that when you share file, both the user who's sharing and the user who's receiving it will be able to be transferring files securely and storing it securely. And also that brings up another issue for us is the duplication. With that, we also have to develop new technologies to handle that because it is very difficult to do the duplication with files that are encrypted with different encryption keys. So we actually generated a lot of new technology around it. So definitely, we all think big data is a real trend, and also it provides a huge opportunity for many of this.
I think for big data is really not a hype. It's a real thing. I can tell you one thing is during this morning I got a call. Actually, yesterday, late night, after I go to sleep. Anyway, I got a call this morning very early. A friend in your company told me, hey, a CEO called me. I haven't run this call. I haven't got this answer for him. He keep calling me. And I slept the whole day, the whole morning and noon, working with problem with him. And then generally the management team wants to see. So going back to the big data, it's real thing. I just use the example of what does big data, what kind of big data there are. So there are two kinds of big data from my understanding. One is the online data, that is all the information belongs to you, like your friends information and your social information and all the documents belongs to you. You want to see those documents and anytime you may not know, right? So Dropbox, all these cloud platform provide you the utility that enable you to see the documents, the file, the data, anytime, anywhere from any device. This is really cool thing. You cannot imagine 3 years ago. But there are another kind of big data itself. It's kind of offline data that you don't care. You may care, you may not care. It does not matter so much. But it's really bad for products like for Facebook, for LinkedIn, they really need those data to provide better service for people, for users. So we build one product. The first thing you need is the online data, otherwise products empty sell. There's nothing to show the user. The other thing is with this online data, people will start using this product. The key thing for successful product is to make users happy. How does the product make users happy? That's all depends the offline data, right? How the product, how the company extract the real value from the data you generated. Right. That's kind of
So that's awesome. So from all the stuff that all the panelists talked about, there's a lot of interesting phrases that I gathered. So there's a mention of breaking data into components that you can analyze. There's mention of targeting, cloud computing, backup, data access, file sharing, anytime, anywhere access, online versus offline experiences, usability, things of the sort. So clearly big data is all pervasive so far as user experience and eventual monetization is concerned. So I want to follow up with a sort of a couple questions. So at Opus, and I think pretty generally, I guess across the valley, there's this opinion that it's not so much about big data, it's about big insights, right? And so if that sort of holds true, then we can almost break down the adjectives into two pieces. One piece is the infrastructure that you need, or the underlying foundation that you need to be able to gain insight out of big data, and then there's the eventual insight generation that you can eventually monetize, right? So I guess the question I had for maybe Simon and Yongchen, when you look at the eventual usability of the data or the applications of the big data, what are some of the things that you look at? What have existing technologies been able to support you in getting, and what can be done on the infrastructure side to help you do better at the end of sort of the insight?
For infrastructure, so actually in LinkedIn, we believe analysts or data scientists is the bridge, to leverage technology, connect people with people. People means internal team, how we use data. Another side of people is the customers and internal members. So infrastructure is the foundation for almost everything. But before the infrastructure, I'd like to talk a little bit about the business, right, the model. So and other people believe, so infrastructure, technology will drive all the value. I cannot agree more. So, but so the business model tracking before data is stored sometimes is more important than just store all the information or data in the hard drive, right? So that's why at LinkedIn we believe, not just believe, but also we're doing that to put the right tagging, tracking in the right place, in the right format, and store that in the very easy to consume, format and structure. So two benefits. Number one, it will leverage the backend data infrastructure efficiently. Second, it provides future easy and fast and scalable access to end users. So second, to answer Eddie's question, at LinkedIn actually we developed a lot of internal technologies, and for example Hadoop, we hired some really foundational, let's say, principal architect, so to build the Hadoop infrastructure. Actually, that's from almost 2005-ish, so very early. So, and also we keep evolve on top of that. For example, at LinkedIn, actually, we are not a database company, but we develop several, very high-level database technologies. For example, in-memory database, right? How to leverage the Intel and the NMX, advanced command line, plus a little bit GPU computation. That's plus Hadoop Teradata, and also all sort of data systems. Actually, LinkedIn we have maybe more than 50 different type of data processing system internally. And Plus all this, we also build a very robust data, we call data bridge, to connect all of these data sources together. So because of, I think in nowadays, on market, the biggest challenge to do analysis or machine learning or data mining work, extract insight, actually is simultaneously leverage different data sources together and then combine them into one system, at least virtually, so we can provide cross-functional value. So, and that's what we saw at LinkedIn. So that's why this data bridge layer is very important. Because of, think about it this way, why big data is challenged? Because of the hard disk, the speed of reading from the hard drive not been improved 100 times, right? It's only improved a little bit, marginal. So that's why how to provide a very efficient, fast infrastructure without moving data back and forth too many times. That's a key to how to say, to provide more value in a certain amount of time. And I will not say provide more technical details because I'm not as technical as Yongqiang. I'll leave that to Yongqiang to show. Yeah.
Thanks, sir. I was a PhD student a few years ago. I'm doing a lot of experiments every day and in my lab. At that time, I generate 10 gigabytes of data. That's big. That's huge for me. I hope I can write some paper and just interesting things from that 10 gigabytes of data. So at that time, I used my SQL to store these 10 gigabytes of data. And near university, you don't have a lot of funding. You cannot buy fancy technology things. So you only use cheap technology for software. And then soon, there's 100 gigabytes of data. And then you find massive no support and that happens. So at that time, really you don't have anything to do. You don't have funding. You cannot buy the power processor. You can't even think about the Oracle technology. It's so expensive for students. And then I started looking at for open source free software. At that time, I will just study. So it's really cool thing, and then it's from Yahoo and Google, and it can support 100 gigabytes. That's the thing I want. I need. That's the tool I need. So that's only 100 gigabytes. And then I started, and then I found really found that the infrastructure is not reliable. It's not so. It's doable, but not really what I want. I need to improve. I need to build a lot of things on it. Then I started my career on that. But if I have similar problem today, I want to start my career on that. And then I joined Facebook. And when I joined Facebook, Facebook has like 100 terabytes of storage in the warehouse. And that time we call it big data, really big data. And before I joined, Facebook used a commercial delivery system that cannot scale to 100 terabytes. In 2009, it's 100 terabytes, we call it big data. But in 2012, it's increased by 1,000 times. It's more than 100 terabytes. It's few hundred terabytes of data. And you think of scalability, right? It scales by 1,000 times. But how many if you look at the Facebook user level, it only scales like 20 times. If you look at the employee level, it's only scaled a few times. It's really huge. The scalability of the current software is really good. And then the other thing we also want to focus on is the reliability. So because Facebook always thinking of this big companies has the power, has the money to build their own data center. But many skill startups don't have the power, don't have the funding to do that. They use the public cloud, they use Amazon, and scalability and reliability is still a big issue for the public cloud. That's the thing we need to solve in the next few years maybe. In the software itself, it really goes pretty well in the last few years. I think that's the skill.
That's,
Yes,
that's,
maybe
I mean, if I can quickly segue that into sort of the broader infrastructure, cloud computing, these things, maybe, Michael, if you want to, share your thoughts about sort of the infrastructure layer and what some of the opportunities there are, and maybe, we can transition to Yvonne and, maybe get a specific use case from your side.
So I actually just want to share one story about the application of big data. Right? So one of my portfolio when I was at VC for was a e-commerce company, right? So when just right now it's I say go to Taobao, go to eBay, to Amazon, and enter query. You will come up with tons of results, right? But usually, the consumers only look at the first page. Maybe 75–80% people only look at the first page. But when you got tons of results back, how do you determine which 50 results or 20 results or millions items put on the first page? So this is actually whether it's Amazon or eBay or Taobao or Alibaba. They have to implement this kind of solutions, right? So the language behavior, right? They have tons of data from the vendors, right? So the properties of the product, of items, the quality of the items, and also the behavior of the consumer, right? This item, how many people viewed this, this item, how many bought this item. So all this data has been crunched, so that they use those kind of so-called big data. Just think about those data also is real time, because the inventory keep changing. So I, was quite interested in the development of this kind of technology, and then present the relevant results to the end user. So I think that's a very good application.
Well, since this session is on consumer, so let me zoom it back to the consumer point of view. For consumer, they absolutely don't want to deal with infrastructure. They want it to be invisible. So as a storage company, we need to build something that is invisible, very convenient. All they have to do is to get online and use it. So we know that in the very near future, cloud storage will be a commodity. What that means is that, it's everywhere. Everybody is using it. So there are two things that actually consumers will be looking for. That is the cost, that is the security. These are the two most important things that consumer will base on when they're choosing vendors. As we all know, in the past few months, all about the Snowden case, incident, NSA, and all that, people start to question how secure is my data, with my cloud provider. This is absolutely a key thing that we, as an industry, we need to address. We need to prove that the technology companies are addressing this issue. The next thing is, since it is going to be a commodity, people will be needing a lot of space to store. And so, as a company, we need to bring the cost down. And so, these are the two main things, I think. If you're talking about infrastructure, these are the two main things that need to be incorporated into the design of the future industry.
So I want to follow that up with questions around globalization. So I know your startup has connections to China as well as obviously the US, and I'm sure there's people that use Showtalk that are in other regions of the world. So how does globalization play into how you look at the backend infrastructure as well as the user experience and so on?
There are two sides of it. One is the hardware side, which is the data center. So we need to design and locate the data center in such a way that the data will have high availability depending on which country. your ads. So this is very important, and this is a key strategy need to be focused on how to place our data center. And the second part of it is to address the local customer. Every country, every culture, they tend to do a little bit different things. So you have to understand the local culture in order to build the right user interface, to build the right features, to fit into their lifestyle. So understanding of culture definitely is something at the top.
Okay. So on the topic of user experience, clearly the mega trend of the past 5, 6, 7 years has been mobility with the iPhone and the smart devices that followed. How has that affected each of your businesses? So we have a very interesting mix here. LinkedIn, which was obviously set up way before the iPhone came along, and Dropbox, which has always been in the mobile era, and SureDoc, which is a new company which entered the world. So how does mobility play into your thought process? Have things fundamentally changed since mobility came along, or are things sort of similar still? Anyway, so Simon, if you want to start.
So this is a big data, topic. I will not share, LinkedIn, mobile strategy. Just a high level, the trend. Everyone can see, it's a significant shift from desktop, to mobile. This is happening everywhere, every day, anytime, right? So, and from the big data and analytics perspective, I think mobile generates more information, and also it's a trend will transform the analytical, even philosophy, level. For example, I can give you one example. So typically, when people browse by using desktop, let's say desktop. So people like what Michael just shared. For example, you search on eBay, right? And typically, or search on Google. Typically, people click top 1 or 2 things. That's a very natural and standard user behavior detect or analyze for the users, right? This is almost a golden standard. The higher the ranking on the search result, the higher conversion rate from there. So, however, on mobile, potentially, maybe not the first link you would click the most. Because of the usage on the phone, you can easily scroll. Maybe the number 5, number 6 places is the place we should be. That's a fundamental shift. The user behavior plus the backend business. Targeting strategy, right? If you still heavily be on the top search link, let's say same as a Google search, right? Perhaps that's not the right strategy anymore. So that's it from an analytical perspective. We found this. That's why our product user behavior or we keep improving from backend, from quick learning about users habits, behavior, plus their, let's say, social network behavior. So that's what I can share. Another thing is the volume is increasing tremendously. So because of the data is not just a fixed location. For example, I say home, my desktop always be there. Right now, mobile, right? A lot of real-time and near-time business opportunities will be developed, based on these devices. So.
Sure.
Mobile definitely is a very important piece within the technology world. But I think this is just part of the whole picture. We have to realize that people are using multiple devices. So if you're building a product, you need to think about connectivity. If it's content, you need to think about how people can access using different devices. If it's a task, how are you going to be able to connect or shifting this task from one device to another device? So mobile definitely is an important part, but you also have to address the connectivity, whether you're using cloud, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, NFC, whatever. So you need to think about connectivity. I also want to point out one thing, is that nowadays products are built to connect to household devices. I'll give you some examples. Google Chromecast and also the Samsung, the smart TV, they have built-in YouTube apps in them. So they actually I'm using it. I'm able to use my cell phone, log into my YouTube account, and then click connect to my TV. And so I can actually choose which YouTube I want to play directly from my cell phone, and then automatically goes to, I don't know how they do it, most likely from, Wi-Fi, and it will automatically start playing the YouTube clip that I have chosen. And this is pretty amazing. So my advice to developers is that when you're building an app, make sure that you have in mind putting the connectivity, access everywhere, anyway.
I work at the companies. It's a very interesting thing. When I joined the company, the first thing I hear from the team is, oh, we're going to dominate the world. We're going to win the world. That's the first thing you hear from our company when you join. The company here are really ambitious. The next thing you hear, we are mobile company. I want to tell you, we are a mobile company. The mobile is very important. That's the real thing that's happening right now. But how important are the mobile? If you look at the users, right? A lot of users log into your website, log into your product from the mobile device every day. The number of active users from the mobile is already passed on the desktop users. They generate from a lot of users, and then they want to use their product from their mobile device. At that time, they don't have the access to laptop. Most time, users don't have access to laptop. Give you a more concrete example. You store tons of photos on your laptop. If you don't use the current console, let's say you don't have the Dropbox. And someday you want to share some document with your friend, and then you don't have the access to your laptop, then the only thing you can say is I will email you tonight when I get home. But with Dropbox, all these cloud storage, right? You put all your files on these platforms, and you'll be able to access them at any time, anywhere. And it's really convenient. It's going to be a utility. It's happening now. That's for personal users. The other thing is for the developers. If you develop a product, if you make some awesome product, like you generate a lot of users, you generate a lot of data from users. The main concern you have is where you store those data. You generate those data from the mobile phone or the Go Glass coming out, right? You don't have the storage actually. All the mobile devices, the common thing of all these mobile devices, they don't have the storage or very limited storage. They won't store all your data. And the product you build, right? You don't want and first thing you don't want to put a build your storage data. You want to put the storage in your platform, in your cloud. Right? All these fancy cloud platforms providing you a utility that allow any product put their data on their product, access their data from the application natively. It's just like a local file system. It's really convenient. It enables a lot of powerful product. It enables a lot of features that you cannot think of if they don't have that utility.
So let me ask one question on sort of the consumer piece of the whole game. Each of your companies has a huge consumer component to it. And then given that the next panel is more on enterprise for the same topic, I wondered, do you think a consumer company can stay purely a consumer company and be generally monetizable and profitable and so on? What are your experiences? Each of your companies has had enterprise components that you've added over time. So what do you think about the consumer piece of it versus the enterprise piece of it? Can a purely consumer company be successful?
Sure. I can talk about China. Right? So in China, definitely consumer-oriented company has higher probability to be successful. Right? For enterprise, you become successful, but it takes a lot of effort. The sales cycle is long, right? In China, more like a consumer-oriented region. So I believe that the mobile, the cloud, and the data, if you target consumer market, definitely. But you need to have a good product, right? And not only the feature, but also the user experience. But the second thing is really the business model, right? So sometimes the business model may be successful in the US, but when you just replicate that in China, you need to really understand the Chinese consumers' behavior. So you got the right product, you have the right business model. I think the consumer market in China actually is way up to.
I think you can make money either in consumer or enterprise or both. It really doesn't matter. But the important question that you need to ask is, what is your core strength? As a founder, what is your interest? What is your insight? I think it's more important. So as a cloud storage company, I believe we need to address both because both are big market, huge market. So we have enough resources to look into both consumers and enterprise. But then, from another angle, let's talk about the big data related to storing on the cloud. Once you have big data, now it's soon to data mining, data visualization, where now businesses start to make money out of it, and so it is a fact. So whether it's consumer pure play or enterprise pure play, it's hard to tell. It can be a blur, and the mindset begins to blur, where you have the big data generated by the consumer, while the people who are making money from it are the businesses. So that's a different angle of looking at it.
So I guess we've got a couple of minutes to go. So I guess Yongchan and Simon, if you can just in 30 seconds sort of share your views as well on the same piece. Can a purely consumer company or business model be successful, or do you think a mix of enterprise and consumer makes the most sense for stability long term and so on?
I think there's a hybrid. It's a mix. We cannot say what any companies can only focus on consumer and on the enterprise. It's very for the cloud system or cloud companies. Both markets are really huge markets, right? If you see the internal numbers, they are huge. One key problem people are knowing right now is work interesting is the consistency between consumer and enterprise. Right? You work at a company, you use the platform as a consumer. For example, you use robots as a personal user. And you go to work at your company. I don't know what kind of platform you use and what, but you don't really want to be consistent. Right? You want to use the storage system the same way you use at your personal life. Right? You want to use that also at your work. This is a very interesting problem people are trying to solve right now. It's the consistency.
So I think that B2C or consumer, this really depends. But at a very high level, I believe most of the company in the future will be combined these two together. First, for example, we can provide a lot of value to the numbers, right? Individual numbers. You can consider that as almost 2C. However, really monetization efforts has come from B2B. enterprise, I mean, business generate almost 70% of revenue for LinkedIn, right? So the model actually LinkedIn design actually is quite simple. A lot of members, they use LinkedIn, they get a lot of value. Data being stored on the backend. So we use data derive a new product and service, to serve enterprise customers and the members. And then those new, let's say, product and service enhance another wave of engagement and the member usage again, and then drive more data, drive more business. You see, this model I think is proved, been very successful in the past years. I would say that if you try to build a new business, and perhaps think about this model, maybe you can get some insight and inspiration.
That's perfect. So I guess we are out of time. This is obviously a big topic, and I guess we can talk about it forever. But I think if you're an entrepreneur or you're an industry executive or an individual that's working on in the space, I think the panelists probably would be more than happy to chat with you offline as well to share how LinkedIn and Dropbox and SureDoc and Yahoo Innovation Center, all of these can be helpful to you, and also what you can offer to them from a partnership perspective. So I'm sorry we are out of time for audience questions, but hopefully we can take some offline questions. Thanks to the panelists. And,